Hello, everybody. This is Mark Hutten, and I want to talk to parents today about why your child with Aspergers or high-functioning autism does not understand how the world works. Your Asperger's child has a neurocognitive disorder that affects many areas of functioning. Now, this includes difficulty with the basic understanding of the rules of society, especially if they're not obvious. Now, life has many of these rules. Some are written, some are spoken, and some are learned through observation and intuition. Your child with Asperger's or high-functioning autism only knows what has been directly taught to him through books, movies, TV shows, the internet, and other explicit instructions. He's not able to sit in a room, observe what's happening, and understand social cues, implied directions, or how to read between the lines. Instead, he learns facts. He doesn't take in what is happening around him that involves the rest of the world. He only takes in what directly impacts him. Many of the conversations that your child has had have generally been about knowledge and facts, not about feelings, opinions, and interactions. As a result, he doesn't really know how the world works and what one is supposed to do in various situations. This can apply to even the smallest situations you might take for granted. Not knowing the unspoken rules of situations causes a lot of anxiety in children with Asperger's and high-functioning autism. In turn, this leads to many of the behavioral issues that appear as the child tries to impose his own sense of order on the world he doesn't understand. The child with Asperger's or high-functioning autism creates his own set of rules for everyday functioning to keep things from changing and thereby minimizing his anxiety. Sometimes he just makes up the rules when it's convenient. Other times, he attempts to make the rules up by looking for patterns, other types of rules, or the logic of a situation to make it less chaotic for him and more predictable and understandable. If there are no rules for an event or situation, he will create some rules of his own from his experience based on what he has read, seen, or heard. He'll often have a great deal of information to use in reaching his conclusions and forming his opinions and feelings. As a result, some of his conclusions are correct and some are wrong. Your child rarely considers someone else's point of view if he doesn't consider them to be an expert. And the fewer people he sees as experts, the more behavioral difficulty you will see as a parent. Now, he might consider teachers, coaches, and even therapists to be experts, but his parents will rarely be seen as experts. Therefore, he will argue with you about your opinions if they're different from his own. He thinks that his opinion is as good as yours because you're not an expert, so he chooses his opinions. Now, this represents his rigid thinking, and it's also what parents call defiance. But your child finds it difficult to be flexible and consider alternate views, especially if he's already reached a conclusion. New ideas can be difficult to accept, and being forced to think differently can cause a lot of anxiety. Your child probably thinks, I'd rather do it the way I've always done it, because trying to do it a new way causes too much anxiety for me. So as a parent, you must never overestimate your Asperger's child's understanding of a situation because of his high intellectual ability or his other strengths. He is a child who needs to figure out how the world works, and he needs a roadmap and a set of instructions, one example at a time. So I would encourage you to view your child, rather than being defiant or rigid, as being someone who is trying to avoid anxiety by applying his own set of rules to how the world works.